Hi, everyone, and welcome to our EdTech Tuesdays. Today, we're going to be talking about lights, camera, action. And with us, we have Jeanette Mijares, which is our CIT and our science lab teacher over at Berta Palacios Elementary. Just a brief few things before we start. Some norms, make sure that you register for today's session and you sign in using the remote check-in code PSJA Tech. Mute your mic, and if you have any questions, make sure you type them in the chat. Myself and Deborah Pingle will be here, ready to answer your questions. The objective for this session is that by the end of the session, you will be able to use Canva's self-recording feature so that your students can record their responses as exit tickets or effectively answer some questions for you. And without further ado, let's take it away, Jeanette Mijares.
All right, everyone. Hello. Like Valentin said, today's session is going to be on student recordings on Canva. And so this is a really neat alternative that we can use because I know before we were really big on Flipgrid or Flip. And then after that kind of went away, we still want our students to be able to have access and to have those opportunities to practice their recording, especially for our TELPUS assessment or STAR assessment, depending on what their accommodations are. And so I've found a way to be able to do that using Canva. And so I hope you really enjoy this next presentation. I will be showing you how to go through each section and how to be able to create the templates that I'm going to show you. So let me share my screen really, really quick. And it's going to be, okay, hold on. Are you able to see it? I just want to make sure that you're able to see it. Alrighty, okay. So these are the examples of what these recordings are going to look like. What I do is I basically make a big template for the week or the amount of days that I'm going to have for their students for that week. And then I post them on Google Classroom. And so the way that I do that is by including a slide that has the exit ticket. I do provide a sentence starter for my students, especially for our EBs or our special population students. They need some sort of support. And so we're able to do that by including some sentence starters that they may or may not use. And then sometimes I'll put the date on there. And then you can see that you can go about this in many different ways. These are some of the templates that I've used before that have really worked. I have a total of 4 fifth grade rotations, and within that I have 4 different groups. And so, for example, for this particular group, I could see that in rotation 1, I had these students answer, and they were all in groups 2, 3, and 4. And so, for example, in this case, maybe my first group was out of the classroom, or maybe they didn't respond. And so it's a really quick way for you to be able to check that as well. I do provide an example. This was when we had first started, so I provided an example for them so that they could see. They learned to adjust it, to record themselves, and most importantly, to lock their video because they're going to have access to edit most of the presentation as far as them uploading their video. You do need to be able, or you need to be careful because sometimes they might click something by accident, remove it or move it around, and you can't find it. And so I would always tell them, be mindful of others. And if, of course, you do something by accident, let me know that we can fix it before the video is gone in itself. Some students are very shy when it comes down to presenting. And so having to do that again for them is not the best idea. And so we need to be mindful of that. Some of the students, they might blur their camera or they might put a picture over it. In the beginning, I don't mind, just because I know that sometimes they are very shy. And so having to see their faces or anything like that is not necessarily their forte. So in the beginning, I do allow them to turn off their camera, but eventually I do tell them that they can turn it on. And the reason for that is because that's telling me that they're becoming more comfortable recording themselves. And eventually this will mean that by the end of the year, when these assessments come into play, they're able to record with no problem, and it doesn't necessarily faze them. Because I know before we've had this problem where students are whispering into the mic and then you can't hear it. And that, of course, becomes a problem once they're taking their assessments. So like I said, this is one template that I've had where I've created the template. I put the topic on top, the rotation. I color code them as well, just so that it's easier for them to spot when they're going through them. You divide it into groups. Like I said, each one would be different. Some of them have the same layout. They might just have a different background depending on what we were focusing on. Like this was our penny drop. So of course I put pennies up, and the kiddos are able to put their videos inside. And so if you see, I can't move these videos. And the reason for that is because I had them lock these videos so that if somebody else was to record over them, they wouldn't go over where they were. And now these are more recent just because we are going really, really fast and it's a little bit time consuming sometimes to make all 4 of them, or if I'm falling behind and I'm planning the day before. So it can become a little tedious in that aspect, but it's very, very easy. So what I do is I just make a blank template and then they just go based on their rotation. But I always make sure that I separate them by rotation. It's a little bit easier for them to be able to see it. And so if you notice, I'm still allowing them to block it. Some of the students, their cameras don't work. If you notice, this one's looking up at the ceiling because their front camera doesn't work. So this is their back camera that's recording. As long as I can hear their voice, it's fine. Most of the time I know their voice, so I don't really have to go back or anything like that. I do provide, like I said, the sentence starter for them. When they are recording, they are able to see the screen. And just a bit, I will show you how that looks. So instead of before, I was just giving them the sentence starter here. But now I'm also doing it for that sheet where they're going to be, or the slide where they're going to be recording. And so let's get started. We're going to go ahead and we're going to design a template. That way you see how it looks on the teacher end as far as creating the template, and how it will look on the student end to be able to record their video. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go to the regular homepage for Canva. And you can go based off of whatever it is that you want. It could be there based on your topic. If you like something very colorful, if you like something very plain, Canva has all these different options for you, which is, I think, is really, really great. And so we're just going to kind of stick to our little season right now. It's Halloween. And so you just go ahead and you pick whichever slide you want. And so I can go to this one, something a little bit colorful. And so then from there, we're going to customize this template. And you are going to see that you're going to have your page to work with. Now, I find it easier to work when the slides are next to each other. Here, the slides come down. I click on pages, and now I have more of a PowerPoint presentation sort of deal. I don't know. It just makes it a little bit easier. But if you didn't know, you just click on pages, and then you can shift back and forth. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to title my sheet. So it's going to be exit ticket. And of course, I want it to stand out a little bit more. All I'm going to do is I'm going to add an effect. I'm going to put a highlighter on that wording right here. And you can change the font. Again, all these easy changes are going to come from the top. So I'm just going to change the font, make it a little bit thicker. You can put the date on there if you want as well. And so, for example, I can put October 28th, 2025. And we'll be good with that. And then you can type your question here underneath. So for example, I could do based on what we're doing right now. So our exit ticket could be what interactions did you see when you worked with light and water? That could be my exit ticket for my student. Again, you can change the effect on it. You can add the bubble on it. You can go ahead and add this background to it. Whatever it is that you want, however you want to lay it out. If you want to add pictures to that, of course, you already know on Canva, you go ahead and you add on elements. You can click, I don't know, light, and you can have a flash. Let's put a flashlight. You can be as creative or as simple as you want. Here, I'm just going to layer it. I'm going to bring it to the front, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to include this in my exit ticket. So this is what my students would see when they first open this section right here. And now it's where I'm going to make the template for them to add their videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the template. I'm going to go to design, and I'm just going to add another Halloween design. So this will work. I'm going to delete all of this because I don't really need it. I don't want it either. And we'll go from there. So again, I'm going to put this on top. I'm going to put exit ticket. I am going to make it a little bit smaller. And then my second section is going to be my rotation number. So for example, here it will be rotation 1. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the color. I'm going to change it to pink. That'll work. I can make it a little bit smaller if needed. And that's it. Now, this is where you can get as creative or as simple as you want. If you only want to start with the sentence stem, so for example, let's say you wanted to do the sentence stem, the interaction the light had, the interaction the light had with water is, and dot, dot, dot. This, and then you can title it. So for example, I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller. It's a little chunky for what I need it. A little bit smaller. I'm going to open this up. And if you say, okay, this is getting a little busy, you can kind of do a transparency so it doesn't look too busy on this end. I'm going to bring this down. And then you can just write sentence starter on the bottom. So now, this is the space that you can have for your students. If you don't want to make anything else, you just want them to basically dump them in there, you're more than welcome to. Now, if you do want to add graphs to separate them by group, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to duplicate the slide. Sorry. I'm going to duplicate this page, and I'm going to make this a little bit smaller because now I need to make space for my graphs. So I'm going to come down this way. I'm going to go to elements, and you're going to go down. Let me close this up. Make sure there's nothing on the search bars. Go down, and you're going to go to tables. And so here, for example, I'm going to have a total of 4 tables. I'm going to add another column. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to select here. So I'm going to click on the first one, click shift or leave shift held on my keyboard. And all I'm going to do is merge my cells. And I'm going to do the same for all 4 sections because I don't need one single box per section. As long as I am able to shrink it or make it smaller, they're able to put these in there. So now this is my box. This is where I'm going to label them however I want, title them. Maybe some of you have, I don't know, different names, or you want to give them different names for that particular activity. It's up to you. So once you have this going, you can just title it Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, and Team 4. So now you're going to do, like I said, click shift. You can select all of them. You're able to make the text as big or as small as you want. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger just so it doesn't look so tiny. And if you want to add some cute text, you just go ahead and add the cute text you want. So now your screen is ready. This is what you're going to have. And but again, this is only for my first rotation. Now let's pretend that you have multiple rotations. All you have to do now is duplicate the page and then just change the rotation number. So you're going to go down this way, go to 2. You do the same, duplicate page, and you can do it as many times as you need. If you want it for every exit ticket and you just change the sentence starter, you're more than welcome to do that. The only thing that I am going to recommend is you're going to grab your mouse, you're going to click and then drag it to select everything inside. You're going to group it, and you are going to lock it. This will keep your kids from moving anything around. So now if you see I'm trying to move this stuff around, I can't. I've locked it. That way when they're inserting their videos, they don't accidentally move them, because it can happen, especially if they get very frustrated because their computer's not loading fast enough and they can't find their video. They start trying to move the table around, trying to find their video behind it. And so all I do is I just lock it for them to be able to be out of sight for the kids to just kind of put their videos in there. So now you're saying, okay, Jeanette, that's great, but now how am I going to assign it? So remember, your students need to have access to edit. This is going to give them access to be able to record themselves. So now what you are going to do is you are going to go to the share button right here, and you are going to give everyone access. So where it says access level, you're going to go with anyone with the link, okay? I always do this just to avoid it. You can set it to where it's just your school, anything like that. Sometimes they have all kinds of crazy stuff on their ends, and then it's not their email or whatever it is that they have. I just make sure that I just give everyone access, and you need to make sure that it says can edit. Once it's done that, I'm going to copy the link, and then we're going to go over to Google Classroom. And in Google Classroom, I usually assign it just as material because I don't need to grade it or anything like that. Of course, if you want to, you're more than welcome to. But on this side, I just do it for data purposes. So I just come in here. I'm just going to pretend, okay, I'm going to continue. If you notice, this is what I've had before, and the kids get to see it through here. So now let me show you how to do that. I'm going to go to create material. You can title it exit ticket. And you can be specific, like, hey, I'm talking about light energy. You're more than welcome to do that. And then I add a link. I click on it. Sorry. I paste it over, which is Control V, right? Once we have that on there, once it's ready, you'll see the little box pop up right here. So right here, sorry, I didn't even change the name of it, but I do recommend that you do change it. So here on the top, where is it? Right here. So here up on top, you can title it exit ticket for light energy. And then that on the or end, it will fix on this side. So you see it has all this funky stuff. It's easier when you just have that. You can add as many. So if you want to do it per week, you can title it week 1 and all your exit tickets are in one. Because sometimes I know with Google Classroom, if you have so many, it'll just give you a big old roster and you're having to constantly keep scrolling. This, I can add as many links as I want. I don't know if it'll let me do the same one, but you will just see them. So you can do week 1, week 2, week 3 as you're planning. You're able to kind of stack them up on there. You can assign it to whatever category you want. So for example, let's just say I was going to do category 2. You do that and you post it on their end. So I'm going to post it just so you can see it. And so now I go to category 2. This is where my exit ticket is. So this is where you want to keep it. Your kids will go in it. They will click. Make sure that on their end, if they're not able to edit, it's because they need to sign in. Remember, they are signing in with their Google account. So once they have that, once they're in, once they've already had, or you've already showed them their exit ticket, usually the way I do it is I am projecting from either my iPad or my computer. My kids can see the exit ticket on the wall or on the screen, and then they're responding on, I always have them write just the way they do in Telpus. I give them space in their lab sheet. They write it down, and then all they're doing is recording what they've written. So once they come in here, let's say, okay, Jeanette is ready. She's already done her assignments. What she's going to do is she's going to go down here to apps. So we're here on this left side. We're going to click on apps and we're going to scroll down a little bit where it says more from Canva. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click here where it says videos. And if you notice right here, there's a purple button that says record yourself. This is where the students are going to go ahead and click. And you need to make sure, or they need to make sure that it's going to give them access, because most of them, their microphones and their cameras are blocked initially. Once you allow them, then they won't have any problems coming in and out without having to ask them. On their computers, for the most part, their back camera is set as default for the most part. That's what I've seen in most of my students. I just tell them, you come over here to the settings. Some of them, they will just click out of it and then they can't find it anymore. They'll go ahead and they'll click the settings bar. They'll click front camera. In this case, it won't show because I'm using my camera for Teams, but they'll click front camera and then their picture will automatically come out. Of course, unless there's something wrong with their device, which can happen. But they are using their camera, okay? They don't have to use anything else other than camera. And the microphone as well. Make sure that they've allowed that to be used during or for the exit ticket. Once they're ready to record, they're going to go ahead and click record. It gives them a timer and they can start recording. And so if you notice right now, it's telling me that I'm recording. It's giving me the time. And once I'm complete, I click done. They have the option to go ahead and click it to listen to themselves, because a lot of them will start to say like, oh, Miss, it's because I didn't like the way I sounded. Or if their partner was talking, well, you can't really hear me because my partner was talking. So they have the option to go ahead, see if they like the video. If they like it, they're able to save and exit. If not, they'll just click delete. In this case, we're going to pretend that we liked it. We're going to click save and exit. Oh, sorry. I was like, what is that? So they will be able to hear it recording and what it is. Usually they'll stop it and they'll move it to whatever team they belong to. And so they know they have 4 partners. Okay, just make your video a little bit smaller. And then this is where I tell them you need to lock it. You need to lock it, because if not, then we're not going to be able to see or anybody will have access to move it around. If for some reason, because it does happen, they'll accidentally move it and then they lock it right here, not even you as a teacher are able to move it because you don't have access to that. Just tell them to unlock it and they can move it around or make it as big as you need them to, or whatever it is that you're trying to have them do. Once it's ready, you lock it and you're ready to go ahead and check them. Now, I don't recommend that you preview, because what happens is when you click preview, all of them will start talking at the same time. So when you're going back to review them, just review them on the edit page. That way you can listen to and click to one by one. And so, like I said, this is pretty straightforward. I know you have to play with it, but it's really, really easy, and the kids learn it really, really quick. I haven't done it too many times, but the kids are pretty good about remembering. I know we've started doing it again this week because I do have an observation, and part of my observation, of course, they want us to use technology. I am in the science lab, so everything is hands-on, but I always try to incorporate something that involves technology, whether it's a PhET simulator, but I wanted to use something a little bit different. And so I decided to do it with the exit ticket. And so this is a great way for you to be able to have access to how the students sound when they're expressing themselves and all that stuff. But it's a different way, and sometimes they just need something a little bit different to kind of motivate them. And so, like I said, this is the Canva recording. You're able to tailor it as, as complicated and as beautiful as you want, or as simple as you need. But that's the cool part about Canva, that you're able to make it your own without having to necessarily rely on anything. Canva has so many different templates available, so I'm sure that you can find something, and I would say stick to that for a while until you get used to it, and once you get comfortable, then you have free range on anything else. Well, and that's my presentation. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I can't really see anything. I haven't opened my chat, but yeah, thank you.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
I love all the little details that you included, and to like do this, do that, lock it, not lock it. And I just wanted to just show this over here, and thank you so much for watching us. Thank you for watching this recording, and if you have any questions, just let us know. Reach out to myself and Debbie. We're here to support you. You can also reach out to Jeanette if you have any questions specifically on this topic. And thank you very much, everyone.